Let's get this going. Here we go. 9:08 start time. All right.
After you posted a schedule, this was supposed to start at 8:15.
Well, I thought we go back to back to back, but then Coach Crow was 22 minutes late.
There's all kinds of things
Yeah.
happening around here.
Yeah, life just happens sometimes. We see it at tournaments all the time.
Uh,
Yeah, we see it in flag tournaments. And me personally, I'm just glad that we're getting this show off. Here we go. Episode 2 tonight. We are here. It's Blunt Talk. No fancy intro. I couldn't really get time to make anything special for this episode on terms of graphics, except for the main ones we'll be using. Let's get it shared around, build a bit of an audience. Shout out Coach Crow for the last episode. We did that. Meet me at the 50. We talked about the Sunshine Bowl coming up next month. That's the first big announcement of the night. We will be down at Sunshine Bowl July 24th and 25th for that event. I will be at least. I'll be covering that for that one. Ross Collins, he'll be busy that weekend as well.
That's me.
We're going to throw an announcement right off the gate for you. You're going to be actually on July 25th. You'll be up in Hanover, I do believe, for the YAFFL 5-man, big man tournament. So Team Blunt Talk, we got a double shot on July 25th. We're ready to go this summer. We've only just begun. If you thought AC was insane, just wait till you see what we got in store for you. We're going to have an announcement tonight as well. A lot to talk about in tonight's episode. So let's go ahead, get to it. Atlantic City has come and gone. Another tournament in the books, Ross. Tell me, what were your thoughts on what went down this weekend in AC?
It was a cool tournament.
Yeah, your second time at AC.
First time. Well, for a flag.
Yeah, for a flag football tournament.
First time. It was my second time. First time was bachelor party.
Bachelor party?
I swore I'd never go back.
You was it that bad?
It was
Yeesh.
for my bachelor party.
Your bachelor party.
Yeah.
Oh man, back when you were a single man who knew nothing about flag football.
Yeah, flag football was definitely not on my mind then.
Everything on your mind was that wedding day and the bells chiming and everything else. Shout out to you and Mrs. Collins. Y'all great. Much love and appreciation. Y'all make it happen. Y'all make it work. Big shout out to them. Two people have helped me get a long ways in all of this. Thank you once again, Ross. Thank you once again, Catherine.
Well, it was hot.
It was a hot day. Oh my goodness, man. The heat was on.
A lot of good football going on.
Yeah, football was pretty insane, like from start to finish in Atlantic City. Whether it be going in and let's talk.
I could have had more A games. That'd be cool.
And
But I got the right A game for Saturday.
I had a good amount of A games actually. Let's talk about some of the best games we witnessed all weekend on live stream that we both did. My field, we had a pretty good amount of games that were interesting to watch. We started the morning with the Rebels. That was Israel Velota's team. They took the field. They went against AFN. AFN was more like Team Petty in this one, honestly. A lot of the Petty guys were on there.
I was just saying, when I
Yeah.
showed up, AFN was getting warmed up. It was mostly AFN guys, though, I feel like. They only had about 6 or 7 by the time I showed up.
It seemed like there was a good amount of Petty on there. And at times when you're watching, it felt like you were watching Petty on the field because you got Battle and everybody else out there. The jerseys, AFN went with the darks they wore from Nationals. Yeah, it's one of those things I talked about on commentary is sometimes your best bet in tournaments when you don't have the numbers, when you go on these big road trips, you got to find a neighboring group of friends who've known you for years. That's the thing. Sometimes your enemies at home are your friends on the road. You both know each other. You both know what your tendencies are. You can work together, compromise. Yeah, we're going to fight over the league chip next week. Those two might be playing sometime soon. I don't know if they're scheduled to raffle this week or not, but to come together like that, it's always good to see. That game was 6-6. It was a tie, though. AF had plenty of chances. Rebels cannot move the ball at all in that game. Their offense was inept. They had a long run at one point there before half and a big pass as well. AF had 4 chances in the red zone. They failed to convert on 3 of them. 6-6 tie. Not a good way to start the morning for either side. The next game I did was Rebels against the Dragons. That was the next one, I do believe. It was the Dragon. No, Demons. Sorry, it's Demons. Rebels and Demons. That was a much better game. Shout out to Big Iz. He filmed the first game, then he went right out and played quarterback in the second game. Did a great job. He can go out there and play that position very well, very knowledgeable. Does an excellent job out there on the field as a leader. I like the passion he brings to the table with the team. Shout out to Big Iz and the Rebels. It was good seeing them this weekend for the first time in 9-man, seeing how they fare on the field. They've just fell short, though. Demons got the dub. But Big Iz, he went out there, he got the offense going. They did a lot better once he was out there. They had a little more like consistency going on. Didn't get a chance to see them after that, though. The other game that went on the field, AFN and Dragons. AFN beat them 19-12. That came down to the final play. It was an interception at the very end there. Very tight, competitive game. The games we had on Saturday they were good, man. I'll tell you. We hit the jackpot on Saturday with the coverage of games on that schedule. Field 1 was lit and legit all weekend. And Saturday, when it's going to be a great tournament, when Saturday is like even feeling like a Sunday. And that was the intensity all the sides were bringing out there. AFN, though, they get their first B circuit win since Worlds 2020. That was the last one they had. So shout out to AFN, finally getting back on the win column there. Yeah, they had some C wins at Ocean City, but we're not going to count that in regards to the B. We'll see what's going on with rankings in a moment and what we're doing. We're going to also see if anybody wants to get on, talk with some guests and everything else. Just click the Zoom link and we'll talk about everything going down this week in the world of flag. And we got another announcement tonight as well at the end of the show. Continuing onward, however, other games that went on that day, the A games, main event Dream, that was something. Main event went up 21-0 with only 2 plays of offense in. Mike D scored a touchdown pass on both his first 2 passes. There was a pick 6. It was 21-0 in the first quarter. It was dead for Dream, and it got rough for them. Like, they were starting to clash with each other. They were arguing. They were shoving.
Very young team. I can see playing main event be a bad situation for them.
That's the thing. You got a veteran squad who's got years and years, hundreds of years, maybe thousands of years of experience in flag football within that organization. And you compare it to Dream. A lot of these young kids just learning the game, coming around. You know how it was when you were first learning the game, getting stuff together. And, I saw how – I'll tell you, the one thing that really stood out to me, the trenches. Main event's trenches compared to what Dream offered. Dream's got some big guys. Don't get me wrong, but they did not – main event, they were almost twice their size at times. And, they did a good comeback later on. They pulled within 9 at the very end. Had a chance to possibly win had they gotten the onside kick and the conversion with it. Unfortunately for them, they come up short. Good effort, though, in that second half. They rallied close against main event. But unfortunately for Dream, they just didn't have it. The next game I got, we had Mike D versus TJ Holston. I believe that was the first time we've seen that matchup on the circuit. As main event beat the Rebels 28-14. This was a good weekend, at least for Saturday, for the Elite Rebels. They came in and took on main event in Strong Island, arguably having the toughest bracket on Saturday. The main event game, there's a 2-score loss, but the Rebels played very well the whole time. Like, they stayed in it. They were competitive. It wasn't really a blowout. Once again, the defense struggling, though. We talked about it. They're giving up about 4 touchdowns per tournament right now in a game. It's a rough time right now for Elite Rebels defense. But the offense, it's on fire. It's ready to go. And that carried into the next game against the Strong Island Bulldogs that we did on Saturday. What a game. Rebels and the Bulldogs. Oh, my God, dude. Much different game than what we saw in Ocean City. Much different game. This one was 28-27. TJ Holston had a big run prior to the last drive to give the Rebels the lead. And then it was Tarver and I believe Matt Riddick with a catch at the end to score the victory. And for the Strong Island Bulldogs to get the 2-point conversion at the end to win it, got to give them credit. This was the first of many comebacks for them late in games all weekend. This team was very resilient. I had the pleasure of being able to watch all of their games all weekend at this tournament. So let's go over talk about your Saturday, Ross, over at the field you were at. Tell me what game stood out to you.
On Saturday.
Yeah, day one. Yeah, look at your own. Oh man, your memory's already shot, man.
Yeah, it is.
That sun was pretty intense. I ain't gonna lie, dude. The sunburn we had has been no joke. Like it's been no joke doing this. So I can pull up. Let me see if I can pull it up too. Just to give you a reminder, some refreshers.
One of the most memorable things, Killer Bees.
The Killer Bees.
Not the KFFL Killer Bees.
Not the YAFFL Killer Bees.
Neither one of them.
Not the Pennsylvania Killer Bees.
The Jersey Killer Bees.
The Jersey Bees. The Jersey Bees took on.
They showed up with no flags.
No flags.
Who did that play?
Rideout and Venom.
Yep.
And actually, Ross, that was part of, and this is crazy to think about, 2 games in 9-man that were played on Saturday between Bees and Venom. The Killer Bees and the Maryland Venom, the game you had over in your field, that was the first one at 10:30. Venom got the win 9-6. A bit of a dogfight there between those two. Over in Shippensburg, Pennsylvania, there was a makeup week in the Keystone Flag Football League. We mentioned it last night on the Keith Giles show, Extra Yard.
Killer Bees played Rideout first.
Yeah. Rideout as well. Rideout, we'll get to them in a moment. But, with the Killer Bees against Venom afterwards in Shippensburg, Venom got the win there. The West Virginia Venom, that is, against the Killer Bees, not the Killer Bees. A little bit more buzz in the Bees, not the Bees. Depends who you ask. My twang came out there for a second. I apologize. Sorry, I'm from the South. Next game on there. But yeah, back-to-back games between Venom and Bees. Venom gets the win in both of them. There's going to be a third Venom Bees game played this Saturday in the Keystone playoffs as well. So here we go. 3 Venom and Bees games in a week. Rideout Dirty Birds. How good was that?
Dirty Bird was a little understaffed. Rideout came out the ball, as everybody knows.
Dude,
all weekend, man.
0 points allowed till the fourth quarter of the championship.
Yeah, they came out the ball.
They absolutely did come out the ball, bro. Like, I give a lot of credit to what Rideout did all weekend. They went up there and represented the area very well.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they just could not come up with the championship in the end, falling short to the Empire. Big shout out to Empire, by the way. We'll get to them momentarily. But yeah, Rideout had a great weekend. That defense allowed no points until the fourth quarter of the last game. Like, that was a historic run they had up until the very end. And unfortunately, they just fell short. And sadly for them, lost opportunity. But we got the word earlier that Rideout, they are taking this tournament and they are going to grow on it. Their next big thing, they're going to be an A bracket for the Charm City Classic. That is confirmed. Rideout to A for Charm City Classic. It's been speculated. I ain't going to lie. I heard rumors about it months ago. I heard talks. I wasn't sure about putting them in the A or B rankings. Are they an A team? Are they a B team? Is Rideout going to jump on that train too? So now we have another team from the DMV playing A in the tournament this year. Rideout has jumped on for the Charm City Classic. And with the momentum they have in this tournament and being a lot closer to home and having already won, people forget, Rideout is the defending B champion in the Charm City Classic, having beaten the Renegades back in 2019, a game that I had actually at the Charm City Classic. We'll have more on Charm City a little later on. We're going to talk about that on Inside the OMFFL after this show. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the Charm City Classic. The team list is looking really good.
Right,
and
yeah, Venom Killer Bees.
Venom Killer Bees.
And then Venom Dirty Birds. Venom Dirty Birds is a good game. It's a back and forth game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. That was one of the better games of the day, honestly.
Dirty Birds were an interesting team to watch this weekend. I've had a couple chances to see them a few times, and truthfully, like having watched the Dirty Birds and seeing how they come out and play on defense, like they know how to come out and ball. Had them on Sunday when they took on Rampage. They only lost that game 7-0. Like they were very competitive against Rampage. The problem is they couldn't move the ball on offense in that game. A lot of running around by the QB, just not enough throwing. Couldn't get the ball in the air, couldn't get the yards needed. Just fell a little short. They had a bit of an easy one just before that with Steele. Hey, man, I feel for Steele. Only 8 guys at kickoff for that 8 a.m. day 2 game against Dirty Birds. Only 8. We've been there before.
Yeah.
Sometimes 8 is enough.
A little different competition, though.
Yeah,
a lot different competition.
Well, we took on
the type of competition where they would see me lined up at cornerback and not throw it my way at once.
I got to tell you, Ross.
How do you not throw it? Like, bro, if I can mirror myself as a QB and see myself running corner, I will throw it at myself 100% of the time.
You were shut down that day. Ross allowed 0 receptions at cornerback as we got the win over the Browns 25-0. And let me tell you, the Browns, since that game, they've come a long ways.
That's the KFL Browns, not the ones we saw in Atlantic City. The ones in Atlantic City.
Hold on. They had orange uniforms. Right?
Who did?
The Browns.
When I saw the Browns, they were wearing.
One of the laws had orange. That's what I'm going off of.
More of like I guess you call it gray.
I thought that was the same thing.
And they had a B in the middle.
Huh. Well, I was actually pretty happy for the Browns for a second. I was really happy for their improvement. But never mind. This Browns team actually is pretty legit.
This one is.
These teams, Eric was sitting there on commentary being the championship talking about how Brown stepped down, in his opinion, to play in B. And truthfully, he might be onto something. Like, they definitely are a borderline A team out there on the field. And they play in the A division in the GCFFA. Right. So, like, this team they got going on right now, they got a core that they could work really well with. You had them on Saturday. They gave it to the Bad Boys in that game. Very surprising result with Bad Boys getting the loss on there 20-7. I realized after I said it. I think you were there Sunday, I think, for the Rampage game or tried to go live for that one.
That was the one where
the
games were just done.
Yeah, unfortunately, we had to cut things short on Ross's end. The heat was so bad that the equipment wasn't working.
I've got some foam coolers coming. See if they work.
Yeah, we're going to test some new stuff out.
We got some stuff working out.
Yeah, we got a long summer to prepare for, Ross. Trust me.
Got a new foam myself.
All right. Hey, we're all upgrading in the world.
Time, right? It's about time.
Yeah. Hard work pays off in the end.
In 5 years.
Been a long road, Ross Collins. Yeah, Rampage Browns is a pretty good game for what Carwacky's saying. I saw the score 27-21.
Browns and Rampage for Sunday was a really good game. I wish I could have went live the whole time.
I wish you could too. That's one of those games that would have been a highlight because like that was a shootout, bro, from start to finish.
But Saturday, then I have Punishers Misfits.
Yeah, Punishers.
I missed the kick, the kickoff into the trash can.
It literally went into the trash can.
It went into the trash, off the sign, into the trash can, and I missed it because I got too distracted by going, holy shit, this might go into the trash can. My bad.
You just zoned out and didn't bother filming.
I deserve every, I do. I missed it.
I mean, it's okay.
It was awesome to see in person, though.
Yeah, that was pretty good. That was a really awesome game for what I was here. 27-21. Browns beat NWO as well. NWO played them pretty close in that game for the looks of it. Shout out to our guys, Preston and Skinny, man.
NWO is on.
Yeah, shout out to Preston and Skinny, guys, man. They made a trip all the way from St. Louis.
Yeah.
Preston drove from St. Louis to Atlantic City, went to New York with Skinny, came down here. We had some dinner the other night over at the Products. Yeah. Had some nice dinner with those guys.
Good time, man.
Yeah, it was awesome to get the family together and do stuff. Yeah, I had a great time. It's kind of like we're a little behind this week. We did not get a chance to do shows Monday and Tuesday.
Yeah.
Real life happens sometimes. Here we are tonight, though. Show number 2. We still got about 3 more to go. But continue on with Saturday. Your thoughts, Misfits Punishers, where you left off at.
That was a great game, too. Good back and forth game. Punishers came under man from true Punishers. I'll admit that. I've seen Punishers fully man, and that was not Punishers fully man.
Kind of reminded me of that main event team that was in Ocean City a few years ago against ADR, where they both had Pomo a quarterback too.
Even saying that, they still had a fighting chance in that game.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Misfits came the ball too, though.
Yeah, Misfits were ready. They were motivated, but Punishers, you got to give it to them. They came out light in numbers, ready to go.
Give credit to Al.
Al, yeah, the
Al
youngster
from the Misfits.
still in his rookie year, technically.
Hey, listen, he talks his shit, but he also balls out. I'm pretty sure he had damn near every touchdown in that game.
Al's a baller, dude. He brings it every single time out there in the field.
Well down Ocean City too.
Yeah.
Put the ball in Al's hands. He makes things happen. He makes people miss flags and stuff.
He's gonna be one of those guys that I feel like if he sticks to this game, he's gonna make a big impact in the long run. Like, there's a lot of good young talent out there playing in this 9-man flag football game, which we're starting to see more of as we're traveling around a little bit. Yeah. This is the first full year we've traveled since 2019. Even then, we didn't get a chance to hit AC back then. So it was good to see a lot of the North teams that were new to us this weekend that we don't usually get to see. After Misfits, Punishers, what was the other game you had? The other two?
Outlaws and Punishers.
Outlaws and Punishers.
Phones were overheating for that too.
Yeah, that's when the issue was starting to happen for the sound of it. Yeah. I think it
covered a little bit of it. If I remember correctly, it was a pretty close game too. Punishers won, right?
Punishers won that one. Yeah. They won both games, actually. They were 2-0 against the Outlaws this weekend. I had their second game in the semifinals on Sunday. Quarterfinals. The quarterfinals. That was a wild-ass game. Punishers over Outlaws in that one, 26-14.
QB.
4 interceptions returned for points against the Punishers. 3 pick six. Yeah. 3 pick sixes, a pick 2, 20 points in Matt Bailey interceptions for the Punishers. A field goal, 3 extra points, all 26 points by defense and special teams by the Punishers. No offensive score. Punishers' offense was dead on Sunday. They only had 1 score both games. But that defense and special teams played insane against the Outlaws. Like, don't get me wrong, Bailey and company still put up 2 touchdowns. But anytime it seemed like Matt Bailey and then we're going to get somewhere, pick what happened, return, points for Punishers.
Punishers came fully stacked. Damn near fully stacked on Sunday.
They had their dogs ready to go. We saw that clip earlier of what Jarrett did to that Strong Island line.
You want to talk about somebody that's different?
Yo, that is somebody. I don't know what
he was one of my. He was. I want to say he was my favorite player to watch at Nationals because I covered damn near every Punishers game at Nationals or Worlds Nationals.
No, it was Nationals this year. Worlds in 2020.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
He was my favorite player to watch. You want to talk about somebody that's different? I want to do Punishers Lions game where I see Jared Foster go up against Jay Dorsey.
You want that game?
Yeah, man. I want.
It's happened plenty of times, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I know.
But I love it. It'd be one of those games that you'd be love to watch in the trenches. Yeah.
That's the best against the best.
So would you line up? You playing guard in this game? Would you line up against Jarrett?
No, I'd tell him to go on the other side. I would tell him that the guy on the other side was talking shit in the huddle about him.
I just imagine you going to the other lineman and they just all shake their head no, and they just have one of the receivers. Then one of the bench players say, "Get in."
Yeah.
So let's go ahead. Keep going. Next
I was gonna
topic.
say for my Saturday game, my final Saturday game was Misfits Outlaws.
Misfits Outlaws.
Yeah. Also a good game.
Yeah, that was a pretty competitive one from what I was hearing. A lot of back and forth between those two.
It almost seemed like Outlaws were going to take it.
They did take it.
And then they did.
I was about to say, you threw me off for a second. Oh,
yeah, they got it done.
Yeah, Outlaws that win that one 18-7. Moving on to Sunday. First game I had, Steel and Dirty Birds. We already talked about that one a little bit earlier. Dirty Birds over Steel 26-0.
First game I had, Killer Bees.
You had Killer Bees again?
Riot Squad.
You had all 3 Killer Bees games this weekend?
Yeah.
I know how much you love the Bees.
So, also didn't have flags, and the guy that did have flags never even showed up. They ended up borrowing flags from somewhere, and then Dirty Birds. Dirty Birds brought them flags too.
Well, to be fair, Dirty Birds got done their game about 45 minutes early. So, they had time.
No, didn't Dirty Birds play after them on Sunday?
No, Dirty Birds played the 8 o'clock game. They literally beat Steel in less than 30 minutes. That game was done at 8:26.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and then they had to play on field 4.
That was.
So they came. Yeah.
That was a sad game to watch.
Yeah.
The Steel's bench consisted of 2 girlfriends and someone's brother. Doomed. They were doomed in that tournament. It's one of those things, man. It sucks when you.
Well, that's the thing about Killer Bees. They were almost doomed too, but they fought, man. They fought.
It's tough on day 2. You got to watch with guys the night before. You never know what they're going to do.
Quarterback and only their quarterback had flags. I'm pretty sure at one point. Pretty much almost the whole first half.
Oof.
He was the best player though. So
yeah,
it made sense.
So next one up, what are the games we had on Sunday? What was your next one? My next one was I can't remember my second game on Sunday.
Dude, you end up covering so many games, you forget.
Yeah, sun gets to you after a bit. Yeah, it was a fun weekend. I had a great time.
Bad Boys after my game.
You had Venom. That was a beatdown. That game was not close.
Yeah, it was not.
That was the best Bad Boys looked all weekend.
Yeah.
They put it together for that game, but other than that, they had a rough weekend.
The first quarter started all kind of slow for both teams, and then Bad Boys took good.
Yeah, and
dude,
what?
This bracket is really hard.
You find it?
Yeah, I found it. Really
I'm trying to think of what the second game I had was. I'm gonna go back to that.
Field 1.
Yeah, what did it say?
Field 1 was Misfits Takeover.
Oh wow, that was right after. I thought that was later for some reason. Yeah, Misfits Takeover. That was 18-2 Takeover. Misfits. Misfits offense could not get going at all on Sunday. Takeover had a rough start, to snap one over the head at the beginning of the game. It was 2-0 Misfits. Not like they were going to coast to a victory. Takeover, though, they took over. Those guys, they're bullies in the trenches. They show why they do what they do. Takeover, they play up in the GCFFA. They're right now 7-3 on the year. People are kind of forgetting about Takeover a little bit. But I think this tournament reestablished who they were, and they made an example out of the Misfits on Sunday with that game. So that was the end of that one. Next game on your end, you said Bad Boys Venom. But after that was
was it Ride Out? Yeah, it was Ride Out Bad Boys, right?
Ride Out and Bad Boys. That was 13-0 was the final of that one.
Yeah.
Ride Out has their number, dude. Like Charm City Classic, they beat them. A couple weeks ago at OMFFL, they actually played the rematch of that game, and they beat them.
Yeah, it's Ride Out Bad Boys. That's the one I tried to do from the chair.
Yeah.
In the shade.
How'd that go?
Things were overheating.
That's when things were starting to go bad for you. And the rest of the day was just all downhill on your end.
Well,
Oh, you got home. You got
Still got to watch good football. Got a reason.
Yeah.
I really don't have too many complaints.
It was a good weekend on your end. That was about when you kind of dipped your stuff
Still
just
get
went
to watch
downhill.
football.
My field was Rampage, Dirty Birds. Talked about that one already. It was 7-0 for Rampage for the win. From there, that was the last B game. We went straight to A afterwards. Bulldogs and Takeover was the first game. Takeover came out with hella intensity, dude. They went up 21-7 in the second quarter. They had a pick six. Made it seem like for a second they were going to run away with it. Strong Island looked like they were flabbergasted a little bit. They didn't know what was happening. But, you know, the theme of the weekend for the Strong Island Bulldogs, perseverance, staying alive, keeping in the game. They went out there. They kept going. They balled out. They got the win here. They made a comeback, 28 unanswered in the second half of the game. 28 unanswered. By the way, the second time that weekend they had 28 unanswered on Takeover. They beat them 28-0 on Saturday. Strong Island Bulldogs made a statement in that comeback. They said, we're not going to give up. We're going to keep fighting through. They punched back. They punched harder. They got the dub. They advanced to the semis. That was it for the Takeover squad. They had a good weekend. We'll talk about them in a little bit. Going over to the next one, it was Punishers. We had to talk about the Outlaws 26-14. Semifinal came up with that on my end. We had Punishers and the Strong Island Bulldogs. Theme of the game going in, you know, the last three times coming in that Strong Island was eliminated in the tournament was by the Punishers.
Right.
They came in losing their last three games against them in day 2/3 of a tournament. Having gone back to Worlds 2020 when they went 1-0 in the quarters. This time, however, Strong Island would not be denied. Punishers, though, you got to give it to them. They had a great weekend. This team showed that they are still one of the best in the country, no matter who they come out with, what they come out with, the different looks, the different personnel. They're always ready to come ball. They're always ready to play. They really shined through this weekend. You got to give it up for the Punishers. I'm really looking forward to seeing them back on the circuit the next time around. Always enjoy watching them play on the field. We'll talk more about them in a minute, but Strong Island with the win there, 10-7. Interception on the final play of the game in the end zone. Punishers had a shot. They could have tied with a field goal, but Eric went for the win, and it comes back to backfire on them. Championship game, main event, Strong Island. Man, what a great chip game they have for Atlantic City. Main event, Strong Island.
Yeah.
The question going in, you know, who was the best team in the country? Is it the national champion main event? Or is Strong Island still the best? Could they go for 2 in a row? Yes, they did. The Bulldogs back-to-back. They knock off main event 21-14. Like I said, you got to give it up this weekend for the Strong Island Bulldogs. And a lot of the guys on that team, CJ Tarver. 5-0, yeah. 5-0. They got a good record this year.
Undefeated all weekend.
Hey, wait till you see when we talk the record and the standings in a moment. We pull that up. We're going to do the rankings in a moment, but that's how it's looking on that end.
Big Friday signings.
CJ Tarver stepped in, and CJ bought up. Nah, it just happens sometimes.
It's all part of the
You and I both know sometimes you get somewhere and you realize you don't have a job to do. You ever going to work, you didn't have work? It happens. But sometimes if you don't got work, you got to go to work, it works out.
I can honestly say I've never went to work, never had work.
Life happens. But CJ Tarver, Corey Webb, Matt Riddick, you got to give it up for that squad. That defense played excellent all weekend as a unit. The only game where they really had issues was in that Rebels game where they gave up the points they gave up. But even then, you got to give it to them. They stepped up when needed. 2 picks on Mike D in the end zone in the fourth quarter of that game against main event. Big step up when needed the most.
Against the GOAT.
Tough game. Tough loss for main event. Great game for the Strong Island Bulldogs. Shout out to them. They are your A bracket champion in Atlantic City. B champion ended up being Empire. They beat Riot Out 6-0. Unfortunately, that half of the bracket did not get covered.
And so there's not really much we could talk about on that end.
Right.
Day 2 of B was kind of a little bit scarce, but in the end, Empire got the win on Rideout 6-0. Their first tournament, they get the championship. You got to give it to Empire, local hometown area team, got the win, except a fail product. They put in a lot of work. They put in a lot of effort. They balled out this weekend. They went against a veteran team in Rideout in their first tournament for a championship and beat them. We have a lot of talented personnel on that defense.
Right out. Getting the ball.
Yeah, that defense allowed no points to the very end. Yeah, absolute facts. So that's the champions for you. Strong Island Bulldogs, Empire. For the Bulldogs, they're 2 in a row now.
Ryan Tapia, right? He's right there. Call him in. You want to call in?
I can't see anything on my screen, dude. And it's also, you can't call in on Facebook. Get new Zoom, bro.
I thought we were on Zoom.
Yeah.
Oh, you're not even doing call-ins or nothing for this.
The link's right there, bro. Read the comments. There's a link there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I already posted it. If he wants to jump in, it's up to him. I'm not going to ask anybody to jump in.
That's
Okay.
why I just did.
Anybody who wants to jump in, feel free. I don't. Boy, I couldn't see his name on my screen. That's why I was confused. I looked at my screen like I don't see it.
There he is again.
Yo, if he wants to talk, feel free about it. Because like we can't really discuss much B.
Davis is here on time.
That's fine, but he'll comment later. But
yeah, he will.
Yeah, if he wants to jump on and talk Empire, yeah, feel free. I just didn't really know who to reach out to because I thought because I was kind of looking towards just getting it through, but I'm going to talk to them. Feel free to come on. I didn't get a chance to watch any Empire. That's the problem because I was over on Field 1 and we didn't have a single Empire game.
He said he's putting the kids back. Fair enough.
Is he? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Understandable, man. Understandable.
Say this is laughing.
Yeah, but I'd like to see them in another tournament again.
Yeah, they got. Are they coming to Baltimore?
If you guys come to Baltimore, let us know in the comments. Yeah, but it's sad I didn't get a chance to see them. I do know.
I didn't either.
Yeah, they were. It was hard to catch a lot of teams when you're on the same field all day, and especially on day 2 when you sometimes draw the same ones again.
Yeah,
I did get to see all of Strong Island's games, which was awesome.
Field 4 had the most shade. I will say that.
Field 5 had no shade, or Field 1 had no shade. Sorry, I forgot where I was even at. Field 1 had no shade. That was awesome. Yeah, it was a good time this weekend in AC. Worst team by far, though. The one team's got to stick out to me. Top Dogs. 87 points allowed, 0 points scored, including a 47-0 loss to Nomads. Who was Top Dogs? Anybody tell me who Top Dogs was? Nomads came back, yeah.
Nomads.
They fell short to Empire, though. Everybody did.
We haven't even brought up the Nomads.
Let's talk about the teams, so let's talk about the rankings I got. Let's get that going. We'll get to them in a minute and B. We're going to go A first. We'll get them on.
I want to go back and watch our prediction show, too.
I'll watch that later. I'm curious because, like, I don't think any of us picked Empire.
The hell no.
I wasn't sure who they were, honestly.
I'm pretty sure I said that on there.
All right, this looks like garbage, but here we go. This is what happens when I'm screen capping Notepad and using.
I am not mad at being proven wrong either.
You're one of a kind there. This is the rankings I got for that. Top 5 is I got for now for A because I only have about 11 teams registered for A at the moment. There's going to be more come Charm City and Albany. Didn't you read it at least? Is it legible? Yeah, it's legible on my end. Here we go. Number one, I got the Strong Island Bulldogs out of the GCFFA. They're 12-1 on the year. The lone loss coming to the Punishers. Bulldogs, 2 championship wins. They're undefeated in tournament play so far this tournament season. Last loss coming at Nationals to the Punishers. It's kind of crazy.
Really good game.
You know what's crazier? I'm pretty sure like all 3 of their – yeah, well, what's crazy is I think all their losses in the last year or so have been to the Punishers. So, like, the only team that really seems to have their number right now is the Punishers, but the Bulldogs got the best of them this time around. They got the win in the semis, got the stop when needed the most. Strong Island, they're 12-1. Number 2 on mine, I got Main Event. They're independent. I don't really see they're not running the league this season. They usually tend to just travel more than anything else. This was their first time coming out since Nationals, and yeah, they did a great job this weekend. Main Event really did a good job. Like, the offense was pretty sharp. They did have some turnover issues in the Scorpions game as well as the Strong Island game, but in the end, they still got to the championship. Had a chance to defend their title. Had 2 chances to win at the end, but the Strong Island defense stepped up. They played well. That's what went down. Main Event number 2 now. They're 4-1 in this particular season. Like I said, we started counting from after Nationals. 9-man games, league and tournaments only. None of the random exhibitions we were seeing over the winter. We were kind of throw those out because they're just not official results, at least to me. Number 3 on that, I got the Punishers out of the GCFFA. They're 6-3 on the year. 2 of those losses this past weekend. One to the Misfits, the other to the Strong Island Bulldogs. The other loss, the Punishers have, I got to give it to them. Like, they came out and they played really well in the tournament, despite the fact that they seem to be lacking in numbers at times. Saturday against Misfits, it was only a 2-point game. Had a chance to get the field goal at the end, right?
Yep.
Had a chance to kick at the end, but didn't get it, didn't convert it. The Punishers, though, they're still top 5. You can't really debate that. You can't dispute that. This team comes and plays every single time. Right now they're sitting at 6-3 is what the record I got for them is after this tournament. 4 games this past weekend. I don't think I have an update with the GCFFA results, so that's where I made the error at. So I might be off on that. So I apologize on that end. Maybe right. I got to check my notes. But that's what I got, 6-3 on the season. They didn't play Ocean City, so that sounds about right, counting league and postseason. So Punisher City in number 3. Number 4, I got the Lions, 10-3-1 on the year out of the GCFFA. This is a team. They did not get to the semis this time around, taken out by Main Event in the quarters, but that's a tough draw to get in a quarterfinal matchup. Main Event. That's kind of the thing about it. You usually end up drawing one of those northern teams you usually face off against multiple times a year. When you get them in the early rounds, though, it's really tough, especially when it's the first game for that team that day. Lions, they went out there. They had a warm game, a dream to start. They beat them very easily. Took a loss, however, to the Blazers, 32-21. Lions getting torched in the secondary. However, they did get a win against the No Mercy Scorpions, 3-0. That was a dogfight. That was a duel.
3-0.
I want to say that's what the score was 3-0, I thought I read. If I'm wrong, let me know, fellas. Sometimes I misread stuff.
I thought Lions scored.
I mean, three is a score.
Was that Saturday?
It was a Saturday game. Yeah, they played against them.
I thought they scored a touchdown. Maybe they just got in position to kick that field goal they made.
Possibly. You never know with the sun.
I'm pretty sure I looked through the woods there because it's on field 3.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
I wasn't there, so I can't really tell you.
Yeah, I think it was on field 3.
Okay.
I thought I looked through there, and I thought the catch that was made that was, I thought at the time was a touchdown. Maybe it was just in position to kick the only field score of the game. Was on Travis Hale himself. Pretty sure. Going back in the front. So,
possibly. Speaking of Travis Hale, though, No Mercy Scorpions number 5, 9-5-2 out of the OMFFL. This was a big step up for that franchise this past weekend. They went out there. They beat the Blazers twice this weekend. Then, of course, they played the Lions close, played Main Event close, had a chance to come back at the end and win the game, but fell short. Shout out to the No Mercy Scorpions. They played very well this weekend. Some might say, well, what about this? What about that? People forget they're doing well in MAFL right now. OMFFL is very tough. Some may say they haven't beaten this team or that team yet, but right now they got a lot of momentum coming off a semifinal appearance where they already lost the Main Event by a touchdown. So, with the No Mercy Scorpions, I feel like this squad, they're starting to turn a little bit of a corner, and it's just at the right time as we get close to OMFFL playoffs and the Charm City Classic.
It is right at the right time.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens to the Scorpions, and we'll go from there. Next game, looking into that, the other teams that are in the outside is, yeah, I know. I get used to saying words a lot. Takeover 7-3 out of the GCFFA. It was tough between them and No Mercy for that fifth spot, but I'm going to go with No Mercy because Takeover, they had a rough with the Bulldogs. 28 unanswered led up by them in both games. A donut lost on Saturday, and what may as well have been one come Sunday because after there's 28 unanswered, those first 21 mean nothing by the other side. Bulldogs just gave it to them 35-21. Went from a 2-score lead to a 2-score loss. Craziness. Bulldogs doubled up and then some on the Takeover on Sunday. Misfits 7-5 on the year out of the OMFFL. Their circuit losses thrown down a little bit. They took 2 to 148 Outlaws and Takeover this weekend. Got a win against Punishers though. Their circuit record overall this season is about 3-4. The rest of the record coming from OMFFL play, where they're currently second. In fact, I got a big game this weekend against the Maryland Titans. We'll talk about that in the next show. For now, the Misfits are looking in when it comes to the A rankings. I got my own very personal A rankings. That's my opinion. And the final one I got looking in is the Elite Rebels 5-7-1 out of the OMFFL. The 5-7 was a little deceiving. You consider 1-point loss to the Lions, 1-point loss to the Strong Island Bulldogs. They're close. They could be easily 7-5-1, 7-6-1 with wins over both. And it'd be a much different story right now. The Rebels are getting there. That defense, though, is killing them.
Yeah, they're good offensively. Defensively, a couple things.
Let's get to the B rankings, see how this looks. Just as trash. I apologize. I got to do better graphics. This is what happens when you just get off of work and just make up anything immediately. This is what we got in B out of top 15. I got number 1, Rampage, 18-2-2 out of the OMFFL. Rampage, they stay up top for me. They were close to getting back to another championship again. They really were. Another semifinal appearance, third in a row at a tournament. They're playing their best ball right now. That record says it all. 18-2-2. The second loss just happened to ride out this past weekend. Rampage definitely has come to play, however, this year, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how they grow throughout the year. Right out, they're 6-5-1. People will say, well, that's a bad record. Why he got them there? Look at the momentum from this weekend. You got 5 shutout wins thrown in there, and then you couple that up with OMFFL league play where, the record's not spectacular, but at the same time, every game has come down to the final possession with Rideout. They've been in every single game. And they've competed with No Mercy. They've competed with the Elite Rebels. They've competed with Misfits, Rampage. It's come down to the wire against all of them. Maryland Titans. This is a team that they may have struggled to finish a few times in league ball this year, but they could easily be sitting with a undefeated record right now. Every loss of theirs has been by less than a score this year. They are very close to being undefeated. That's how good this Rideout team is. Baez Auto, I give them a bye for this week. They're 4-2 right now in the YAFFL. They play 9-man only on the circuit. YAFFL has their own 8-man style. Baez, I do believe, is playing for a championship there this weekend. We'll see how Baez does in that 8-man style. They're going to be probably doing more tournaments. Got the news, though, on Baez and Rideout. They are a go for A bracket, both of them. Baez to A. Champ Moore last night on the extra yard of Keith Giles talked about Gusto Land making that jump to A. Baez Auto has already made that jump. I tell you, everybody's going for A right now. Everybody's taking their shots while they can. Everybody wants to smoke. It's a beautiful thing to see right now in the DMV, 4-state region. Baez, though, they're on bye for this one. They'll be back for Trump City Classic. Brick Squad, I'm going to keep them at 4 as well, 4-1 out of the ECFF. They showed a lot of potential in that Ocean City tournament. It's a squad that I feel like could definitely do some damage when they come back to the next round. Hopefully we'll see Brick Squad again very soon. Remember, they're a drop touchdown away from playing for a championship game in Ocean City. Number 5, I'm going to go up Empire, 5-1. I'm going to put them up there very fast. And people will say, well, it's crazy. But, this is a team this weekend that went out and beat some established ball clubs. They beat a Nomad squad that's been around forever and made a big name for themselves over the years. Nomad's been a staple of New Jersey going back to the early 90s. Like, they've been around forever. They went out there and beat a Long Island Reapers team that nobody really knew what to expect from this weekend, but made it all the way to the semis, lost by a touchdown to Empire. Could have easily been where Empire is by the end of this weekend. Won the championship of a ride-out, scored the only points on ride-out this weekend anybody scored. Big shout-out to Empire. They're out of the XFFL. They're coming in from that 7-man style here to 9-man, and they're ready to go. Looking forward to seeing how they grow throughout the year. Next, I got the Long Island Reapers. This might be an incomplete record, so I apologize. They're 4-1. This was a team that made a pretty damn good run this weekend. The Reapers, for the first time seeing them, they're pretty damn good. Like, I got to give a lot of credit to them. They beat the Ducks on day 2 in the Battle of Long Island. That's why I got them over to them right now. Ducks 8-5-1 on the year out of the GCFFA. Long Island Ducks finally got over to home. They beat the Bad Boys. Finally, for the first time in that battle between those two this year, they got the win. Unfortunately, though, for them, they did beat Riot Squad, but just fell short against the Reapers. So Ducks, they're going to drop a little bit on this one, number 7. But, they're always going to bring the competition, always going to bring the smoke. Tough team out there to go against. Also on there, number 8 is the Browns, 4-6 out of the GCFFA. Some might scoff, say losing record. This is a team that plays in A-level GCFFA. Yeah, this is a squad that's about to be.
Better not sleep on the Browns.
Yeah, that's the squad that's going to be really good in the next couple of years. Really looking forward to seeing how the Browns come around. I got the number 8 for the moment at 4-6. Also at 4-6 at number 9 is the Long Island Demons out of the GCFFA. They're starting to turn the corner a little bit. They're getting more of their guys back out there. They're going to come ready to go throughout the year. Looking forward to seeing how Joe Casone and company keep growing.
Yeah, I think it's really seeing.
Yo, Heller is legit the real deal. Like, he's got a cannon, bro. Like, he's insane to watch. Like, if they keep going the way they're going, they're going to do real well. Like I said, that losing record, a lot of it's skewed because, like I said, they play A bracket in GCFFA. They play the Dogs. They play the Lions. They play the Punishers. They play the Browns. They play the Ducks. They play the best competition they could find up north. Maryland Titans at number 10, 9-5 out of the OMFFL. They've been a team that nobody's really been talking about this year, but
Don't sleep on them either.
yeah. Doc's old, but he's still gold out there on the field. He can still bring it. Titans, their veteran squad. They got a big game of Misfits coming up this weekend. That's going to be a big measuring stick for them. They got an A win this year. They beat the Scorpions 12-0 a few weeks ago at OMFFL. So, this Titans team has shown they could definitely compete. Didn't have enough on day 2, but they fell short to the Browns on Sunday. So they're going to go to number 10 right now. So we'll see what Titans can do going forward. Next at number 11 is the Nomads. They're 3-1. Nomad, yeah. A team a lot of people I think forget
Don't
about.
sleep on them either.
Exactly. Like, they will bring it every single time. They had a tough slate of Nationals. They had to play Blazers. They had to play Renegades. It was just a tough draw for them. But, Nomads is back. They can still ball, but Empire got the best of them in the battle with Jersey. Yeah, they played against Renegades at Nationals.
Oh,
Yeah, you misheard. That's what happened there. I am right. I'm always right.
no. Them man's ready to ball though.
I'm looking forward to seeing them back out there, man. I really
I
am.
like their style.
Old school flag football.
I like their style.
Next up at number 12 is the Bad Boys. They're 7-6-1 right now. But with the Bad Boys, you gotta consider they played Rampage, they played Ride Out twice, they played Baez Auto, they played the Ducks twice. Looking further down the schedule, I think they played the Titans already as well. they played the Tri-State Spartans. This is a team in the Bad Boys that shows every week they can play the best of the best, but right now they had a bad weekend in AC. Jerome Russo had said it back on Inside the OMFFL in April. He felt like they were going to go 0-2 and drop out of the top 10. Well, there they are, number 12, 0-2 Saturday. Can the Bad Boys bounce back? That's going to be the question. Next up is number 13, the Black Hawks. They're 6-4 out of Maffel. They weren't in this tournament. It was a bye week for them, so we're going to move on from them. Next is the Affiliate Nation at 5-9 out of Maffel. AFN got their first B circuit win, courtesy of the Team Petty guys and company joining forces with them when they beat the Dragons on Saturday. But for AFN, they did not get an opportunity to get a win on Sunday. Just fell short to the Demons by a point in the rematch from Albany a few years ago. So one and done on Sunday for AFN. Let's see how they do throughout the rest of the year. You know, they're going to bring it every single time. And finally, closing out the B rankings at number 15, I'm going to go with the Tri-State Spartans, 16-5 out of the year out of the KFFL. Tri-State did not travel for AC. They weren't prepared for it. They weren't sure about it. They had a little bit of reluctance, you know, because OC, they had to get through that first, see how it went. They went out, performed in OC. Well, we got the news. We got the scoop. The Tri-State Spartans will be back for the Charm City Classic. They're ready to go. They're right now 16-5 on the year. They play KFFL on Saturdays, Washington County on Sundays. They played OC so far. They've gone up against the likes of AFN. They've played the Bad Boys. They've played Baez Auto. They've gone up against many teams throughout the year. They're playing for a Keystone Flag Football League championship on Saturday, looking to add some hardware, looking to increase the record on the year. But, you know, Tri-State, like I said, they'd be a team that would be considered along the lines of a top G5 school playing in the Power 5 schools. They could definitely make that move to be up there with them. This is a team ready to ball. I can't wait to see how they grow throughout the year. Looking in right now, the teams that are outside the door, we got Riot Squad at 4-3. I don't know if they got any 9-man stuff going on this year. Let me know if the record's off otherwise. FOE 5-4 out of Maffel. They were on bye this time. They'll be back next tournament. That was confirmed. They're in Charm City. Hashtag Team Petty 3-6 out of Maffel. Dirty Birds 3-4. Petty's guys, they were there, but they were on AFN. So I'm going to give the accomplishment to AFN as that was the team that he went with. It was not under the Petty banner. Dirty Birds 3-4. They played good defensively against Rampage on Sunday. Just not enough offense. Got a free win against Steel. But, you know, they've come to show they can definitely play this game. They're a good team. Bulls 4-7 out of the OMFFL. You know, they were competitive. They could definitely play well. The Empire squad was their opponent on Sunday. That's who beat them. Can't find a better team to lose to on Sunday than Empire, especially when you consider Bulls that played Ride Out. They played Rampage. They have gone up against Empire. They played the Titans. They played the Bad Boys. It's been a tough year for this first-year team, but the Bulls, they're ready to go. These young Bulls, they got something good going on. I'm looking forward to seeing how they progress. I'm going to take this off, and I'm going to put up one more graphic in a second. This is something that I had done as a experiment, and I wanted to see how it could work. Can I get it up or I mess it up? I can't find the intro. I can't find that now. Oh, damn. Okay. You know what? I might have to hold it off. Yeah, I might have to hold this one off. All right. Either way, excellent tournament all around. See if I can find that a little later on. There's one more thing I wanted to share, but unfortunately it's not popping up anywhere. But that was my A and B rankings. Let me know what you think in the comments or anywhere else, inboxes. Direct all hate mail to @RossCollins. I tell you, I'm really looking forward to seeing how this circuit year continues to go as we move along this journey and head towards more throughout the year. And speaking of the year, might as well give it time right now. We're going to go ahead and announce it real quick on the show. So we got the confirmation earlier in the week. It's 100% confirmed. We will be having a tournament. The next 9-man tournament will be July 3rd, KFFL Survivor Series, Shippensburg, Pennsylvania. It's going to be a draft tournament. We're going to have 8 captains. The minimum amount of players is going to be 160 to have sign up to make the game happen. The max we're going to take is going to be 320. All proceeds will end up going to paying for fields, referees, everyone there, the site working. And of course, we're going to have it go as well towards a cash prize. Currently, we're going to set the prices $20 per player. With that, you get 3 guaranteed games in pool play, with the top 2 teams in each pool advancing to the semis to face each other, to face the other brackets team in a cross bracket kind of scenario with a championship game at night in the stadium next door at Shippensburg Memorial Park. It's going to be an awesome tournament. That's going to be July 3rd, $20 to sign up if you're a player. You get 3 games guaranteed. Cut it up to 5 with at least 4 different opponents by night's end. I have to say, that's a pretty good day. We're going to have food trucks. We're going to have a good time. July 3rd, Shippensburg, KFFL Survivor Series. We're going to go out there, and it's going to be a draft tournament, 9-man flag football. We're going to have it captains. If you want to jump in, it's going to be $40 to be a captain to sign up for. With it, whoever gets it first is going to have a choice in terms of certain things. We're going to go from there. We'll discuss it more in detail over the course of the next couple of days. We're going to try to get a poster out ASAP. But that's the big announcement we got for you. The next 9-man tournament we got around the block, KFFL Survivor Series, July 3rd, draft tournament. We'll be there. It's going to be lit. It's going to be legit. That's all for Atlantic City. We got about 3 more shows to go. So till next time, I'm Joey Blaze. We'll see you inside the LMFFL.